Hello, everyone. This is Al McGee. I'm with your entertainment ticket at www.yeticket.com. Well, the film I'm going to talk about right now is called Manolos, the boy who made shoes for lizards. Yeah, well, Milano, you ever heard of him? MANOLO BLAHNIK? You ever heard of him? Well, I have. He's a shoe designer, and his shoes are very expensive to wear. But this is a documentary about him, and he's in it. But not only is he in it, other stars and people from the fashion world are in it also. People you might recognize. I must admit, there's some people I didn't recognize at all. Well, let's talk about Manolos BLAHNIK for a minute. Well, he's from Spain, and he was raised on the small island of La Palma. It's one of the smallest Spain's Canary Islands, and he did fashion some shoes for lizards out of Cadbury chocolate foil. He caught a lizard and put the foil on the feet, when he was a kid. But then later on, when he got a little bit older, he went to Paris, and, he's trying to get into the fashion world there. But in 1968, he did something that was unremarkable. In 1968, they had their protests, their rebellion against the government and things that was going on. Was he out there throwing rocks and stones and telling them, hey, we want to change? No, he just went to his room, closed the door, locked his door because he couldn't bear the violence, the marches, the crowds, and the smells of the people. So you can tell this guy has really no political views or anything like that. Also in this film, too, he doesn't have a life partner to speak of, anything like that. And the majority of his friends, though, are women. Now, the director is Michael Roberts. Now, he's a fashion writer, but this is his first film. In fact, it's a documentary. But he's known BLAHNIK for a long time. They are good friends. And so he shot this for 2 years. Of course, Milano, he got a little disturbed about that. Camera always around him for 2 years of his life. Also in this film, too, you see many other fashion designers and other people talking about him. For example, like Andre Leon Tyler. You know him from America's Top Model. He also is a fashion editor, too. He talks about him like he's the best thing from cornbread. Also, you got Iman in here talking about him, too. But one statement or one quote from it is that from this movie that when a woman see a pair of shoes, their blood pressure is going up when they see a pair of beautiful shoes. I've seen that in women. They particularly weren't no Manolos, but they were some shoes. Women love shoes, and I do too. I love shoes myself. But how did he design his shoes? Well, they did show some of that too. Milano, he designs his shoes from history, European history, from some of the best artists in the world. Also, again, from statues of great artists, paintings, and movies too. He copied his shoes. Well, he didn't copy, but he got inspired to design them based on that movie or the way that movie was portrayed or that painting. He showed that in this film. I enjoyed that. So that was the question that I had in my head, which they answered. What was his muse? How did he come up with some of the designs? And they showed that. I'm glad they'd answered that for me. But women love shoes, and so does he. And many people in this film talked about him. For example, Rick Kizak, River Hawkins. And they also had Rihanna in here, too. He designed some shoes for her and things like that. She didn't say too much about him. She was in the film, but, she admires him and adores his style. Now, I learned something about the man, but I learned a lot about the man in this documentary. I learned a lot about his history. I learned a lot about his designs and how people really admire him. But he didn't give a lot of personal statements about himself, but that's okay. I was really more interested in the shoe designing because that's who he is. Now, he doesn't consider himself an artist. just a cobbler who makes shoes. Many people consider him an artist, but I can understand the way he feels about that. He just makes shoes. He's just a cobbler. And that's what he is, but he's famous. And his shoes are very expensive too. Now, will you enjoy this documentary? Only if you want to learn about a man who makes shoes. I wanted to learn about him. I learned a lot about him. That's why I enjoyed this documentary, Milano, the boy who made shoes for lizards. So I'm giving this 3 palm trees or 3 stars out of 4 because it did prove to me how this man operated. And I did learn who he was. Hey, I'm Al McGee here at Your Entertainment Ticket at www.yeticket.com. Thanks for watching me. I really appreciate it.
This is your entertainment ticket. Latest and greatest movie